how I can sync up the audio to it. Okay.
All right, why are we clapping? Okay.
Hey, what's up, Ing Fam? Welcome back to Sessions. I am so happy that I finally got my wife to come on to do the podcast with me and actually like do an episode together.
Hello.
My wife Carmen, who you've probably seen on the videos, on our like, you know, TikTok and Instagram and that kind of stuff. And so I think one thing that we could definitely, you know, make this episode about is like, you know, our come up and, you know, how it is that we even got into opening up a tattoo studio. Yeah.
All right.
Do you feel awkward about like doing the whole podcast thing?
A little bit. Yeah. Yep.
It is awkward. It's super awkward. If any of you guys try to do social media or any sort of content, it's awkward at first, and that is okay, you know?
What feels awkward is sitting here just talking about myself for an hour.
Well, it's just conversation, but people want to know. They ask us all the time, huh? Like, don't people ask us all the time, like, how is it that we met? How's it we opened up a studio? Like,
yes.
You know, do you do
Yes.
tattoos? You know, that one
Yes.
we get all the time. They ask you all the time, like, why don't you have a lot of tattoos?
Well, first of all, I don't have tattoos because I don't think they would look nice on me. I don't
ridiculous.
think they would look pretty.
You're ridiculous.
And then also because I don't do well with healing. So that would be another issue.
Yeah, that one's kind of true. You're like
Yeah.
your skin gets inflamed and stuff, and like it almost like wants to reject it every time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So one of the big ones that we get is how is it that we opened up the studio, or how did that come to be? Where did it all happen, and all that?
Well, first of all, we met, 10 years ago now?
It's been 10 years. Yeah.
10
2015.
fucking years. Anyway.
Damn. Say that with more. Jeez.
So 10 years. I was 19. You were what?
20, 21?
21.
Yeah.
And it was on Facebook. I mean, we had been knowing each other, I guess, or not knowing each other, but like following each other around unknowingly. We had no idea.
Yeah, we went to the same elementary school. We lived down the street from each other. We went to the same high school.
Is
and
unknowingly a word?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had gone to the same schools. We're not aware of it until we had talked, and then he was randomly looking through my yearbook. He was like, "Wait, that's me."
Yeah, I was in the yearbook.
It was my elementary school yearbook. Sheely Farms. Shout out to Sheely Farms. And it's not Chili. It's Sheely.
Sheely Farms. Yep, it's still there. Yeah, Sheely Farms is still there.
Yeah, we should go say what's up.
Yeah, I want to. Well, ever since COVID, they don't let you just do walkthroughs anymore.
I wonder if any of my old teachers are still there.
I bet you. I bet you. There's probably one or two there.
Those were my favorite teachers. But yeah, so that's kind of the backstory. And then we ended up going to high school together. We were not interested in each other. I actually thought Jacob was gay because he had like his hair dyed and he had like the whole scene look.
I had long hair with a blonde streak in it.
Yeah,
I got that a lot actually.
He used to wear a lot of all-time low shirts, had painted nails, and so I was like, oh, like just some gay kid.
Just some gay kid.
I never thought he was gonna be into me. And then just high school went by, and then after that, he decided to add me on Facebook. And that's how we got to know each other.
I was like trying to date somebody, and I decided to message you, and embarrassingly enough, a few other girls. And she was.
I wasn't the only one, guys.
Yeah,
wow.
I was a bit of an asshole. I was back in the day, but it worked. Fortunately, it worked. And then she was one of the ones who actually said thank you. It just so happened that
because I'm nice.
Yes,
I
she
said
actually
thank you.
replied, which was really sweet. I think I said "Merry Christmas, beautiful." It was just before Christmas, and I was watching all of my friends with their person posting, going out, and that kind of stuff. I was like, I want to date somebody, and I messaged her, whatever. Right. The very next day, I went to the mall with the family, and I saw you walk into Hot Topic.
I actually I saw you too, but you were with your sister, and
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were like with a girl or what. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know his sister yet. What's up, Sina? Anyway,
Oh my god.
anyway, yeah. So then we walked into Hot Topic, kind of like avoided each other, and then after that, I messaged them. I was like, "Hey, dude, I think I saw you at Hot Topic. Was that you?" And then, what'd you say?
Yeah, no, she messaged me, so like I kind of did that on purpose, right? I was like, hey, I told my sister, hey, come with me, let's go to Hot Topic. I didn't want to be like act like a creep or nothing all by myself or something. I just kind of wanted her to see me. And sure enough, she messaged me later that day, hey, I think I saw you at Hot Topic.
And I was trying to figure out if he was a whore.
Oh my god. I mean, I wasn't with nobody at the time.
Because I will snitch. I will snitch.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. And you messaged me, and then I invited you out to coffee. Like that following
and then we
Friday.
went to have coffee, and then here we are 10 years later.
Do you remember where I took you to coffee?
It was Lux Central.
Lux on Central.
Yes.
Lux on Central.
And their stuff was actually pretty
It's
good.
still really good. Yeah.
So it was in the wintertime, and he picked me up from my grandma's house. because I didn't want to tell my parents that I had a boyfriend because I was going to get in trouble, you know. Anyway, I told him pick me up at my grandma's house, and my grandma and grandpa met him. And it was funny too because you pulled up in that yellow Camaro, and that was the car I wanted to get for myself. It was
It's
the
a
most
freaking coincidence.
random
Yeah.
shit ever.
I love that car.
Yeah, and then we went out to Lux and had the macaroni and cheese.
That mac and cheese is fire.
You gotta get it with jalapenos.
You got to get it with jalapeno and bacon. Oh my
Yes.
god, one of the best mac and cheese in Phoenix.
And then I
top
had
three.
got, what did I get? The caramel latte or something like that.
Caramel latte.
Yeah, I love
All of their lattes are good.
lattes. Caramel, Dutch Bros. I love you.
Oh my god.
And yeah,
We're gonna have to turn this into food reviews.
here we are 10 years later with 2 kids.
It's been 10 years now. We have the studio now for 4 years, but how it led up to having the studio, well, when we met, I was already doing tattoos. I was tattooing out of my room, and I actually had just left a tattoo shop where I started an apprenticeship, and that place was rough. It's been long gone for a while now. That place was rough, a lot of drama already, so I was like, I'm gonna just take my shit home and tattoo from home. And when she met me, she saw me tattooing in my room, and she said, that's disgusting. You're going to get somebody sick. You're going to get yourself sick. Who knows, right? And
Well, yeah, I know that's a liability. Not only because of you, but because you can get somebody very ill.
Yeah. You were right. And I was very hard-headed back in the day.
And you know, that you don't want that. You don't want to give somebody hep or, you know, something like that.
Yeah,
or
God forbid.
a bad infection. I mean, I've gotten one before, which is why I said too that I don't do well with healing. Because I had gotten a panda tattoo on my ankle, and that got so infected
It got bad.
for no reason too. It's just my body doesn't do well. So anyway, imagine if it's like a real infection.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
or on a big piece of your body. I mean, that can get
And
really
thank
bad.
God to this day too, I haven't dealt with any like bad infections or anything like that. So, luckily enough, even though I was being dirty,
That's
I
why
wasn't-
cleanliness is the number one thing, though.
Yes, and I didn't understand the sanitary aspect just yet, and so she was able to get me a interview at a shop. That one's also long gone by now, but that's where I did my apprenticeship. It was a working apprenticeship since I was already tattooing and I had clientele and everything, and that's where I learned the ropes, you know. And then from there, I worked there. Was it like 4 or 5 years, something like that? And
I don't remember.
I worked there for a bit, and I left, and then came back under new management, and it had a different name, and so then I worked there for like another year, 2 years, or something like that, maybe 3, somewhere around there. And so I did work at some shops for a while, and then during that time when that shop was closing down, it just made sense to tattoo from home, and I always kind of kept a side job.
Yeah, you always had a full-time job, and then you would also tattoo full-time. So it was pretty crazy.
People used to talk shit to me about that. They used to feel some kind of way. The fact that I didn't do tattoos full time. You know, they used to be like, they would be like snakiness and weirdness, and they would throw shots, you know, like, oh, you're not a real artist because you don't do this full time. And I'm sorry to say, but like I had a full-time job, and I tattooed Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday all day, sometimes Sunday all day. Sacrificing time with you when our first son was born, sacrificing time with him.
Well, I mean, that's why you were doing it, because, you know, the baby was born, and we agreed that I was going to stay home and take care of him.
Yep, exactly. And so I had to grind it out. And yeah, people wanted to talk shit to me about that and make me feel like I was doing the wrong thing, you know? And because of the way I had it set up, I was booked out. I was there every single weekend tattooing, and there would be days where they weren't tattooing, and I could feel the sort of like, it didn't feel right. I could feel their energy off of like the way their stares and their looks and all that.
Unfortunately, that's like common in the tattoo industry, or it was common.
It was a lot of competition.
Things are shifting now, but back in the day, it was just very common. It was a mainly negative environment.
Yes, and then sometimes too, it would be like they would come around your tattoo and see you tattooing, kind of not to give you props or like to ask questions or anything like that. They'd be kind of just like, oh, that's cool, and then they'd walk away. They're leaving you like, well, what do you actually think? You know, and then afterwards, some of the artists would tell me like, hey, bro, you should have used this, you should have used that. But they weren't giving me constructive criticism. They were straight up talking shit about the tattoo. And I was like, and it had to turn into like, I got it, don't worry about it, you know?
Yeah.
The only person who didn't do that was my mentor at the time, but that was what he was there for.
That is the sad thing about humans in general, is that everybody, especially back in the day, like the past generations, everybody felt like everything and everyone was a competition. And everybody was so negative towards each other, which that's why I'm glad everything is shifting.
Yes, it is shifting. And the way that we run into is very much like positive and constructive criticism, and treat each other right, and then, you know, build each other up. Why make each other feel like, you know, that it's a competition with each other? That's not right. I disagree with that. You know?
Yeah, and of course we probably fucked up in the past because we weren't taught how to be business owners.
Yeah, a lot of growing pains.
But that's where being an adult comes into play, and being able to communicate.
Yes, and then learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, speaking about it. That's the best thing.
Yeah, our one of our big things is communication. That's like one of the things that we tell everybody that comes in here is just communicate. Like, if you say what you got on your mind in that moment, it eliminates a lot of that guessing and assuming, and like the weird energy starts to happen, and now there's a bit of a rift. And so,
and the issue too is that people think we're gonna retaliate because they tell us something that they don't like. As in, you know, if we do something and it makes them feel uncomfortable, and they come up and tell us, they think we're gonna retaliate and treat them like shit, or fire them, or that they're gonna be in trouble, or, and that's just not the case.
Like, tell us you're uncomfortable, right? Like, tell us that's good. I think then we can learn from whatever it is that you're running into, and then if it turns out that there is a major disconnect because you let us know, then we can decide, well, maybe it isn't a good fit for you as well, not just for us.
Yeah, because we're not. Again, we fuck up. We're not perfect. But also, people need to learn how to communicate.
Yes. And then, you know what, that kind of brings me to that, like, people think it's easy to open up a shop. People pop up shops all the time now, and shit, maybe even somebody could say that about us, right? Because
the problem is, though, when you don't have the experience. When you don't have the experience,
you don't have the clientele.
You apprentice for like a year, finish your apprenticeship, and you don't even have a solid clientele yet, and then you all of a sudden charging
$200 an hour. Like, no, it's not going to work out, and there's a lot of growing pains you're going to run into that you just don't understand yet. Especially having to work with other artists, right? Or having apprentices yourself.
Well, I want to bring something up too, though, because that's one of the questions that I get the most. Being with you, your wife, dealing with, your social media stuff, you tattooing other women. I get the question a lot of, oh, you don't get jealous? Like, you allow him to touch other girls? Which, that's a fucked up mentality.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, he's not touching other girls.
Yes.
This is a professional environment.
Yes.
It's a tattoo. It's this is what I met you doing.
Right. It's
so I'm not here to block you from your career and to be jealous and act crazy, and it's your job.
Right.
And it's professional.
Right. No, and then God forbid I do actually try to touch somebody and I make a mistake like that. Especially nowadays, the world would know.
Again, I snitch.
Yes. And we have a camera, we watch everything. We got the Ring camera up. And so, we try to, for me and for the client and for the other artists, we try to have video surveillance at all times, right? So that question is always,
yeah, I'm not one to cover up bullshit like a pervert.
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
I don't deal with that.
We would be the first ones to put that out there, right? And so this is my livelihood. The way that I think of it too is like I've been doing this before we met, right? I was already tattooing right when we met, and this is my livelihood. If I were to make a mistake and make somebody feel uncomfortable, that could jeopardize my livelihood. The reason why we're able to pay for my career and everything. So no, we take that very seriously. And when she gets that question, it's usually like behind it's that person's own jealousy, their own envious feelings about their person, and like they don't want them touching tattooing women and that kind of stuff, or vice versa.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's happened with two couples that came in working with us together, and it turned into a big issue because of envy.
Yep.
They're no longer here working with us, but it's unfortunate to see. Especially when the person has a lot of potential in their art and then it just gets blocked.
Yeah, that's a huge. That's gonna be it's a roadblock for their career, because if that's a hang up for them, it's gonna get in the way of their partner's potential and themselves, right? So yeah, we are very much objective about me tattooing women and tattooing private areas and that kind of stuff. Personally, this is my choice, male and female. I don't tattoo genitals. I don't. Now, if a woman did want to get her breast tattooed, obviously my wife would know about it, and I would make the decision whether it makes sense for my art.
You've had those situations too, where it's like, hey, I recovered from breast cancer or a mastectomy. Like, are you okay with doing like a nipple tattoo or certain things like that? Right.
Yeah. No. Even to the point where, if I'm tattooing near the glutes, or I'm tattooing near the breasts or anything like that, I also need leverage sometimes to be able to put my elbow on the body or wherever it is that I need to put my arm to get to the tattoo. I tell the client, hey, I want you to feel comfortable. I'm gonna rest my arm here. I'm gonna be placing my arm here. Can I put a pillow here so I can put my arm? You let me know if you start to feel uncomfortable at all. And always from the very beginning, communicate off the rip, and that eliminates a lot of that weirdness and like those like assumptions and that kind of stuff, as you spoke about.
Not only that, but also we recommend in situations like that, if you are getting like a private area tattooed, bring a friend.
Yes.
Or
100%.
like all come in and hang out. It's very professional. It's never creepy.
Yeah, 100%. I still get the question, like, is it okay for my partner to come with me, or is it okay for my boyfriend, my wife?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
bring them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring them. If that's what's gonna make you comfortable, bring someone with you that you trust.
Mm-hmm. Make sure that they have something to watch or do, because if you're doing a full day tattoo, it gets pretty boring. But yes.
And if somebody ever tells you, fuck that, you can't bring anybody with you, that's a red flag. Don't.
Yeah, it's a huge red flag.
Don't even.
Don't even deal with people like that.
Especially if it's a private area.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also do your research, right? Look at reviews, look at people's social media and that kind of stuff, to see if there's any information you can get about the artist, because that's going to be, that's going to help you get in a better idea of like who you're actually going to be working with, right?
Yeah, it's make sure to try and go to someone who's reputable.
Yeah, reputable. Yeah, reputable. Okay. Reputable? No, we're going to keep it.
Hey, my first language was Spanish, okay? All right? So, I'm still working on that.
Once I started watching Sesame Street, I left all my Spanish.
I used to watch Plaza Sésamo.
Now I talk no sabo,
Plaza Sésamo was my thing.
Plaza Sésamo.
Everything in Spanish was my thing.
Mm-hmm.
My dad used to buy me Disney movies, because Disney movies are my favorite, right?
Yeah.
The VHS, because I'm old.
But in Spanish, huh?
But he used to get them for me in Spanish because they didn't want me to forget English, which I'm very grateful for because now I know 2 languages.
Yes, and now, yeah, Spanish was my first one too, but then I wanted, McDonald's every day. I wanted to watch nothing but American TV shows and that kind of stuff, and so I definitely got the Americanized version.
But staying on topic
Yeah.
of the whole jealousy stuff, I mean, we have had situations where chicks do come in and pretend, and they're like, hey, I want to be your apprentice, and then
Yep, that
they're
actually
trying
happened.
to do other stuff with you. So that's happened in the past as well.
Mhm.
And with that kind of thing, obviously I'm not going to cause a scene,
Yeah.
but I will confront situations and be like, hey, it's either going to work out or it's not,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah, and that's our version of communicating, right? You want to say it in the moment. Okay. That one was weird. This person came in to learn to tattoo from me, and they, started trying to learn and all this kind of stuff. And out of nowhere, my wife notices that I got tagged because she has access to all my stuff, and she actually helps with social media and everything. And she noticed that I got tagged on this person's post. Now, this person does modeling and had tagged me on her modeling photos. And at first,
On the butt cheeks.
yeah, on the cheeks, like,
Yeah.
and we have receipts too.
And I mean, it's like, I hired you, me and you are married, they know that, we have children, that's very disrespectful.
Mhm.
Like, it's gross. And also, she had a fiance.
Yeah, she had a
So
fiance, yeah.
That was weird too, because the girl tagged you on a picture with her fiance instead
Yeah.
of the fiance. That was weird.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm glad you got a screenshot of that because that's
Yeah.
nuts. That's so messed up to that dude too. But that's what she was trying to do, was like grow her modeling page off of my page by tagging me and stuff.
Yeah,
And-
yeah. And then she left here. I mean, you know who you are.
Yeah.
She left here very awkward, playing the victim, of course, saying that I'm crazy, but I keep it professional. The thing is, you're not going to come disrespect me in my place.
100.
And that's just nasty behavior. Like, it's so snaky.
Yep, and it's crazy too because we ran into that a few times. That people they show a certain face in here, and then they say things from behind our backs or whatever it might be. Luckily, it hasn't been a lot of people. It's been like just a handful, but we do run into it, and I think that could be said for every industry, right? I'm sure there's other shops that have situations that are pretty crazy.
Yep.
And so those are the types of things that if you're going to start a shop all of a
There's going to
sudden.
be crazy people everywhere.
True, very true.
Disrespectful people everywhere.
But that's the kind of thing that people don't understand that you're going to run into. And so what we did and what we've done now is we set proper boundaries. We set expectations. We have several pages that people have to agree to. And it's not like a contract, it's an agreement.
Let me get some water because this Lexapro is,
It's hidden. But it's working though.
hell yeah.
Yeah, well, my wife's been going through mental health changes and mental health journey.
It's just panic disorder.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's working, huh? Being on medication is really helping out. I've noticed a difference.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah. I've been dealing with anxiety since my grandma died, which was in 2011. I was only like 14, 15 at the time. And I didn't know how to grieve. I mean, honestly, I think it was since very much earlier when my little sister died that I was like 3 years old. That was the
You're
first
young.
time I saw death. I don't remember much of if I had anxiety or not, but I remember picking my fingers, that kind of stuff. So I think I've been dealing with anxiety for a very long time. And I guess it ended up turning into panic disorder after all these years. Now that I have kids and we run a business and everything going on, I just started having these major random panic attacks because they would come out of nowhere. Like I could be in the shower
Mm-hmm.
and then I would think I'm dying.
Yeah.
And they started going on for, it would hit and then I would be like that for like an hour, 2 hours. And it's just exhausting.
And some people too, when we would talk about it, or even when you would get non-emergency or even the paramedics would come by, because we've had to call before, because it's just that scary and it doesn't go away.
It turns very physical,
Uh-huh.
where my heart rate starts to get crazy, my blood pressure shoots up, and then I have a hard time breathing.
And people would always hit you with, just do this breathing exercise, just rub this ice on the back of your neck, or bite into a lime, and all these different like tips and tricks supposedly. But when it's such a visceral feeling, people don't understand what that kind of thing is,
No.
other than the ones who do experience.
Yeah, they started getting so bad where it was messing me up physically, as in my oxygen would be off, my heart rate would be off, where the last time the paramedics came, they said you need to go to the hospital, figure it out. They didn't say it like that, but
Right.
but they did say we recommend you go to the hospital right now because of my heart rate and like the blood pressure. And yeah, that was when I said, okay, I need to do something.
Yeah.
So I started seeing a therapist, and I was terrified of taking medication. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too, because I remember when they actually recommended finally to try medication, because I know you and you were like, I don't want to just start taking the medication right away, and you kind of wanted to get to the root of it, see a psychologist first, have the conversations, and then after a while, they were like, okay, I do think that it's time for you to try medication.
After all of that inner, what would you call it, like inner searching, like trying to figure out the problem, it turns out that I'm just scared of death.
Mhm.
And that's not something anybody can control, unfortunately. And
Like, it's gonna happen.
yeah.
We talk like this about it, you know what I mean?
But
It's gonna happen.
I'm pretty sure that the whole death thing is because I saw death at a very early age. It wasn't really explained to me. The way my little sister looked when I saw her wasn't the best image for a child.
And also, being Hispanic, there is this like social norm or this sort of stigma where you don't talk about death. It's like, oh no, eso no se habla, eso no. Oh, there's like a sort of like a fear. You know what I mean? It's like you don't talk about it, and if you don't talk about it, it's not real, or it doesn't make it real.
And death sucks. It sucks ass. But as a child, as a 3-year-old, I was trying to figure it out. I couldn't put it together as to what happened. I knew, like, they told me she went to heaven.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but why? And I started doing my own research. I kind of got obsessed with medicine as a 3-year-old. And I would dress my doll up. I asked for like medical gear at the hospital. They gave me like little surgery, like a surgery gown and whatnot.
Oh, no
and
way.
I would go home and I would put the doll with like tubing and shit. And I was like, I'm gonna help the baby. So I think that's like something that happened in my mind where it caused a lot of panic. And then I kind of, kept on living, being a kid. And then when my grandma got breast cancer, that was very traumatic as well.
Yeah.
She was like a mom. And if you've gone through cancer and you've seen the effects of it, you know how horrible it is. And it's traumatic.
Yeah. I don't understand that too much. I have lost some loved ones. Nobody as close as my grandma, and not seeing them in that state. So, but I understand it. I sympathize. And I seen you struggle with all of that, and I remember too. They were like, that's why I was also like, maybe you should start taking medication. You sat on the bottle for a while. You didn't want to take the medication. You were scared of taking the medication.
By the time I took it, I had like 4 bottles that had piled up because I got it on like autofill.
Yeah, you hadn't started them yet.
And what motivated me was taking my babies to Disney. I said, we planned a trip to Disney. I was still having my panic attacks. And as the time got closer, I'm like, I'm going to take this shit. I need to enjoy Disney.
Right, so it doesn't ruin it for you.
Yes. And yeah, we went to Disney. We had a wonderful time. We got to see Walt Disney's apartment, which was incredible.
Yeah, that was really cool actually.
Yeah.
That was badass.
And we had breakfast with the characters for what was it, Mother's Day?
It was Mother's Day. Yeah.
Mother's Day.
Yeah.
That Disney trip was great.
Sorry, it cut off right there. But as I was saying, if you haven't done the character dining or the breakfast, definitely do that. It's one of the best experiences we've ever had.
It's a must.
It's definitely a must.
What is it called? The because we did two.
Uh-huh.
We did
One was at the Grand Hotel.
I can't remember the name right now.
The California Grand or something like that.
Yeah, one of them was at that hotel, so look that up. And then the other one is the Storytellers Cafe is the one at the hotel.
That one's was that the one at the hotel?
Storytellers Cafe is. Let me see.
Because then it was the Minnie Mouse one is
Disney dining with characters.
we're gonna need somebody to look stuff up for us. It's like, hey, what does it say on, hey, look that up for us real quick.
Hollywood and Van. No, it wasn't that one.
Well, I know the Minnie Mouse one is inside of Disney at the end of Main Street.
We did the Minnie and Friends breakfast. That's at the Plaza Inn.
Plaza Inn.
Inside of Disney.
Uh-huh.
The other one is at the hotel at the Grand Californian,
Uh-huh.
and it's the Storytellers Cafe.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're both really great, really fun.
Yes, definitely worth it. And we totally got hella off topic. How is it that we started the studio?
I love Disney. That's my happy place.
Yes. Anytime, she's feeling like shit, I'll just take her out to Disney.
And
that
getting to
works.
see Walt's apartment was pretty cool.
Yeah, no,
Pretty-
and seeing the work that Walt and the people working with him at the time put to create Disney, that's freaking nuts. The amount of work. And it was a shot in the dark, too.
Yeah.
People thought it wasn't going to work, that he was crazy. And it's always the crazy people who really create something huge,
Beyonce.
Yes. We will save that for another podcast.
All right. We'll talk
okay,
about Queen Bee later.
So we opened up the studio because of COVID, actually. It was a blessing in disguise. I was tattooing out of our house at the time. Had a separate room that we weren't really using, and I turned it into like a studio, and I was able to make it really comfy and all that kind of stuff, keep it professional. But I was tattooing from home.
Yes.
And COVID came around.
Well, actually, no. So you were working at Fair.
Yes.
Full time still. That was like in 2019.
Yeah.
We had bought a house before we decided to have another baby because Gavin was alone.
He was alone. He needed
And
a
so
brother or
I
something.
had got pregnant and planned all of that before COVID happened. It was like literally like 2 months before COVID.
And it happened out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you know, you started seeing reports in other countries, and then boom, it hits the U.S. and all of a sudden by March, lockdown.
Yep. And then
March of
by
2020.
March as well, while that was going on, I got really fucking sick. Really,
Yep,
that was a
yep.
horrible pregnancy. I had hyperemesis gravidarum.
HG.
I'm sure you guys have heard about it. I had no idea what that was because it wasn't really talked about before. So I started experiencing, like being nauseous. And I was like, oh, whatever. Like, I'm pregnant. It's normal.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't normal.
got
Where
worse.
I was in bed. My muscles were wasting. I had not peed in like 3 days, TMI. But, and then I was puking so much, I didn't have anything to puke anymore. So I puked blood.
You were puking blood
so
and
then-
bile and yeah.
Yeah, so
you
then-
actually got skinnier. You didn't start showing a belly till like 6 months or after or something like that.
Well, my muscles were wasting from it.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Yep.
Honestly, I had given up. I thought I was
Yeah.
going to die.
It was
I
giving Eugenia.
Oh my God. It was giving the chick from Twilight.
The chick from Belle, yeah.
When she's pregnant, that was me.
Yes, literally. I
Yeah.
joke with her all the time. Now we joke about it, but it was pretty bad in that moment.
And I think it's all because he has your genetics.
He looks nothing like me. What are you talking about?
Benjamin is you.
Yeah, okay.
That's you.
I'm kidding. So during that time, you were considered high risk for COVID because of already having, the HG, and it wasn't looking good. And so I actually had appointments going into March, and because of the lockdown and because of us being safe, I actually canceled all those appointments. I sent deposits back, and luckily enough, I still had a full-time job. We went work from home, so I was able to be there for you. For the most part, I was still being an idiot during that time, being on video games and shit. But,
I mean, I think all men are.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no
I still-
offense,
yeah.
but you guys would never understand like a pregnancy all the way.
Yes.
It's harsh.
And hopefully more dudes understand that we need some grace, you know, to learn from it, and then to
Pay attention.
Yes, we got to pay attention, guys. We got to pay attention. Well, during that time, I didn't tattoo for like almost a full year. It was like, 10 months or something like that. And then going into 2021, when restrictions started getting removed, everybody kept hitting me up like, when are you going to tattoo again? When are you going to tattoo again?
Yep.
We talked about it.
I remember you sold paintings for a little bit just to make some extra
I sold
cash.
some oil paintings and all
Uh-huh.
that. I had a few commissions and all that. That was pretty cool. And I think about going back to doing some commissions. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. Oil paintings is actually way harder than I expected. It takes so much longer.
Can I be the first? I want you to paint Zazu.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. That'll be 1800. Well, once 2021 came around, you were like, hey, look, you can't tattoo out of here anymore. It's just not safe for the baby and for you. You're still healing. And that made a lot of sense. And so it was like the only option we had was we had to open up a place. And that's what we were going to do, was just open up a private studio for me to tattoo out of.
Yep.
And it was amazing that we found this place. We got pretty lucky. The first place told me no. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, some shit about you having felonies and like
I got pissed.
I don't know what that was.
I've never had a felony in my life.
That was
I've
weird.
been arrested before, but none of it was ever a felony. It was misdemeanor, dumb shit when I was younger. And
it was because of weed. It wasn't even anything serious.
yeah, it wasn't, and now it's fucking legal.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's like irrelevant.
they told me no, and so then we were like, shit, am I even going to be able to rent a place out? This and that. And then we were luckily enough able to find this place. It was twice the size. It was about, only like a couple $100 more. And the owner at the time was like, hey man, I can't get, my painters to come down. If I buy you the paint bucket and give you the key 2 weeks early, are you down? And I was like, hell yeah. And it worked out perfectly, much nicer area, all that. And I was able to open up a shop.
Didn't my dad help you paint?
Yep. My father-in-law came. My suegro was like, hey, and he started helping us put everything
And then
up.
I helped you do everything else. I remember Benjamin was like,
He was little. He was only like,
he was a few weeks old or like a month old, but I was determined to heal. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna sit and waste anymore. Like
Yes.
my body needs to move.
Which sometimes
So-
that's to a fault for you, because then you like push yourself too hard sometimes. You do.
Yeah, but it's good for my body.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm
it's-
here, and I appreciate the fact that I didn't die because I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, that's pretty chill.
I had given up at one point, and maybe that is what caused a lot more panic in my body.
It's possible that maybe you were pushing yourself too hard, but you made it through all that. We made it through that. We were able to open up the studio, and almost immediately people wanted to start working here. We had a few artists that already were like wanting to start tattooing
Well,
in
I
here.
think that was around the time your social media had got big too.
I was starting to gain traction actually
Yeah.
on TikTok. During that time is when I started posting more on TikTok. And yeah, I started, made it all the way up to like 100,000 within, it was about a year. It was about a year that it took to get it to 100,000,
I don't know the numbers, but it was crazy. And then it was crazy too because you would post me and there would be so much hate.
Yes. Oh my God.
And it's like, okay.
That was one of the craziest parts about social media. We had to learn from it, and now you could tell us anything you want. We don't care. I think we think it's more hilarious than anything.
You're
actually helping our algorithm.
I've been called every name in the. What do you say? How do you
In
say
the
that?
book?
Wait, call that.
Yeah.
Cut that.
No.
I was gonna. Hold on. I've been called every name in the book. Every single one.
Yep. And I know at first too, you actually kind of struggled with it too. I had a hard time with it too, hearing some of the shit that they would tell me.
Yeah. I think it's a given that when you're a girl, you're gonna go through bullying, in school, etc. But I used to get heavy bullying because I had really thick eyebrows that now, they're fabulous.
Now everybody wants to have thick eyebrows.
so
they like stick their hair up.
Yeah,
and
I would
everything.
get made fun of a lot, and I think that was when people started attacking me on social media, it kind of brought back those feelings.
Right, yeah.
And I did get sad for a little bit. I cried it out, but I said, oh, well, are you going to stay here on the floor, like crying, feeling bad about yourself? Or are you going to get the fuck up and keep going?
Yep. That's exactly it.
Which is what I did when I was sick as well. I said, hey, I've been through a lot heavier shit than bullying. Like, I lost my grandmother. I lost my sister. I almost fucking died.
I've learned a lot of my drive from you, actually. You know, I have. Because when we first met, I didn't really think about, you know, going and working at a shop, you know, and learning it the right way. I didn't think too much about what direction or career path I was going to go into. And then we opened up the studio, and now this is what we do. This is what I do. So I learned a lot of that drive from you.
I learned patience from you.
I have a lot of patience. Actually,
I learned to just chill and not be so. What is that word? Like Monica, like Monica on Friends.
Yep. You are a Monica for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, everything is like, it's either a yes or a no. Is it gonna work or is it not?
Yep.
So
some people can't handle that as well. Some people don't like to receive information that way, and so that's one thing that I'm pretty good at, is being able to deliver a message that's going to land softer with people, because it being just blunt, I guess, hurts feelings, when like it's better to just get to the point right away, you know.
I guess so. For me, I don't know, I'm autistic or something, I guess.
It's got the tism.
But for me, it's like no run around, like just get straight to the point and let's not waste time. That's it.
It's just easier that way.
And I'm not a very very emotional person. Obviously, I do have feelings and they get hurt and I get sad, but I move on quick.
Yeah. You are pretty good about that. So some of the stuff that they told us on social media in the beginning was, you know, the obvious name calling and talking shit, but they even said shit like, they told me that if they were in my state, that they would come and break in our windows, set our place on fire.
I think that was pure racism, though.
Yeah, racism and hatred. There was definitely some like fucking states out on the Midwest or East, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Florida, especially, a lot of people from Florida talk shit about our place.
Yeah.
And us, and they said, you know, deport us, you fucking Mexicans. They said that they would rape our kids, that they would hurt our kids, they would rape you.
That they would come shoot me.
Shoot you, and all kinds of fucked up stuff. And although we still get that sometimes, it does not affect us anymore. And as a matter of fact, we use it. So like, I remember there was one video in particular that we did about numbing cream that it got, a few million views. It went pretty viral, and there was some people talking shit on there. And when finally when the person that was talking, one of the main people, I saw them stop, and I was like, hey, what happened? You know, on a comment, and they just came right back, and then the video started boosting again by itself, you know?
Well, that helps the algorithm, right?
It helps the algorithm. They don't understand that kind of stuff, you know? And by now, we've learned from it, and...
Where's my water?
We try to approach it in a certain way. Here you go.
Because you got that water?
Because she got that water. You want to talk about Beyonce? Oh, God.
Beyonce queen.
Well,
I love you.
So that we don't end up making this one too long, that's kind of like where we, got started. How is it that this shop was, came to be? And, I'm super grateful that you helped push me to create this studio and all that. And I mean, I didn't do it alone. A lot of people always give me the props. They always give me the kudos for opening up the studio. But they don't know that you're the one with the fucking drive and the ambition, and you're like, go fucking do it, you know?
Aw, shucks, thanks.
No, seriously. No, anybody who has gotten tattooed with me, who knows me, knows that I give credit where credit is due. And what people see online and what people think online, the assumptions, it's pretty basic. They always think it's the guy. And
I have gotten that comment a lot too, though, where it's a little misogynistic, and they're like, oh, you're lucky. You get to just be home and do nothing.
Mm-hmm. She runs it. Like, I got an artist brain. My brain is like fucking chaotic, and like I'll fucking miss appointments and things like that if I don't have a structure. By now I've got a structure, and I've been running it for a while. You've helped me a lot with that. I like to use systems for that.
The reason I say that too, though, is that it's like a misogynistic point of view, is because it's not getting to stay home and do nothing.
Yes.
Even when I was staying home with the babies, it's a constant work. Being a mother, staying home, it's work.
I did that one time actually. You were working at the time, and I decided to adjust my schedule, only tattoo in the weekends, and stay home with the kids. That shit is tough, guys. That shit is not easy. And just to go to the store is a mission. You know, you got to get the kids in the car, get them dressed. They're gonna drop something on the way. They're gonna rip their clothes. They're gonna pee themselves, something.
Yep.
And it's tough. And you do all that, and you help with the
that's
studio.
another thing I cut real quick. The whole misogyny and misogynistic comments. No thanks. Bye bye.
Yep. And I've had to actually do a lot of learning and growing up, because what I was taught was the classic Mexican macho. The woman does this, the vieja does this, you know what I mean? And she does everything at the house.
Remember when your fam got mad because you got a vasectomy?
Yeah, that was nuts actually. That was actually pretty crazy. One of my uncles, it was like I personally offended him, remember?
That was insane.
Because I got a vasectomy.
Yep.
So it's something that we run into all the time too. After your pregnancy with Benjamin, that it was such a bad pregnancy and it was scary, we decided we're not going to have any more kids.
Yeah.
It was just easier for me to go get the vasectomy and just get it done and out the way. Super simple for men, by the way. And you got to be put to sleep for women.
I remember it took, what did it took
30,
like
40
what?
minutes?
Like 10 minutes, the procedure alone, huh?
Yeah. It was quick.
Yeah.
It was like they were in, snip, burn, close up and out.
I remember I was waiting in the car. I drove him there. And this was when I was like 8 months pregnant, because I was feeling better now from the HG.
Yeah.
Because my doctor, I love you.
Doctor, I love you.
What was I going to say?
That you drove me and like...
I was saying that he gave me, my doctor gave me all kinds of meds. He took care of me. I felt better. And I was able to drive Jacob to his vasectomy appointment. And I waited in the car because of COVID. We weren't allowed to go in there. And then I had Gavin in the car as well.
Yep.
And then the other baby in my belly. So.
Yeah. It was just better safe. Yeah.
We waited in the car, and it literally took like 20 minutes in and out. And I was like, that is so unfair. I would have to be like, from what I know, I would have to be like put to sleep,
admitted to the hospital and everything
in like a surgery center. It's a lot more invasive for women.
Oh yeah, so much more. And it's crazy how there's like this. It's definitely not balanced out, the types of procedures and the things that they can do for men, and what's available and how fast too. I remember when you talked about getting your tubes tied. They kept asking you questions about if you're gonna have kids again.
Not my doctor with Benjamin.
Okay, no, that
not
was different.
him. He was amazing.
Yes.
When I told him, he was like, "Yeah, we'll set it up. You let me know."
And there are those rare few, but for the most part,
if y'all need an OB-GYN, Dr. Culbertson.
Dr. Culbertson.
he's chill.
Oh my god! The shameless plug for your doctor.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna tag him.
Right? Imagine.
But yeah, he was so chill. Now the previous doctor I had, and this is crazy too, because people always say that female doctors are better than guy doctors, like OB-GYNs.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case for me. That wasn't my experience. I think it has to do with the person themselves. As in, their beliefs and how they feel.
Yeah.
Because my previous doctor with Gavin was a female. She was so dismissive and rude, and that at that clinic is where they didn't even want to talk to me about getting my tubes tied.
Yep.
They wanted to pressure me into getting on birth control, like the IUD thing. And so it was like, well, that I don't like being treated that way.
Yeah, no, and it was crazy for me. The doctor told me, he asked me once, he was like, "Are you sure you don't want to have any more kids?" I said, "Yes." And he was like, "Okay, well, let's set you up." And that was it. You know what I mean? They barely even and then they even said, "Oh, it's reversible. The more time you wait, the less likely." But they give you options and all that.
And I've heard stories from a lot of other women too that they ask their OB about getting their tubes tied, and it's like, well, maybe not. Maybe, you know what? We're gonna have to make you wait 90 days, and then come back and we can talk about it.
Yeah, that's outrageous. That's so outrageous.
Yeah.
And then it sucks too, because like
or the whole. Well, does your husband approve of this kind of thing?
That part's crazy.
It's like, come on now, it's not his body.
Yes, and I know that that's actually a common thing in the Hispanic community too. That And that's one of the things my uncle got upset about too. It's like el hombre escoge, you know, the hombre just gets her pregnant whenever they want to.
Oh,
you
like
know?
the man gets you pregnant whenever they want.
Yeah, and that's what they would tell me, you know.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up, and I think we need to start becoming aware of this and start talking about it, so that way more people, at least in our generation, are aware of it. But so that way the older generation starts becoming aware of it, and they can realize, okay, well, I can believe this if I want to, but then not force it on everybody else,
Right.
you know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, total tangent. Anyway, that is how we came to open up the studio. That's how Jacob J Inc. and Ink Body Art came to be. And we have plans for the future. Definitely have plans for the future.
We might shift things a little bit.
We might change it up. We'll see. But we are going to be doing more episodes like this. I think it was cool. I think it was nice to, like, you know, do it in this style and actually get you to do a podcast with me.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nice to meet y'all.
Put it in the comments if you'd like to hear more from Carmen. And we got hella other stories and situations that we ran into. But if you like this type of content, make sure to hit like and subscribe so that way you get and then don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get notified of every video that we put up. We're going to be trying to post this weekly, if not every 2 weeks. Thank you guys so much. Peace.
Stay safe, guys. Peace. If you like these glasses, I got them on TikTok.
Oh my God. That was perfect.